coach. I just want to talk to you a little bit more about our carbon dioxide tolerance test that we use as sort of the baseline for all of our programming intentions in our breathe programs. Now, the carbon dioxide test, or the CO2 tolerance test, has become sort of a pinnacle assessment tool for us to know where the user is in their ability to control their breath and the way that their physiology is responding in response to that. So the CO2 tolerance test, if you look on the link that we have on our PSC Breathe Programs page, you notice there's a direct link on our website. We have a built-in calculator. Well, all you have to do is plug in the results of your test. It has instructions for the test. You plug in your results and it gives you what you want. What I want to do is give you a little bit more context around how to use that, but I'm just going to start by giving the sort of how-to of the way it works. So basically, the CO2 tolerance test is 3 normal full breaths followed by a 4th inhale, and then your 4th exhale is for timed. So it's a continuous exhale for timed duration. Okay, so basically after your 4th inhale, you start a stopwatch, you begin exhaling, and as soon as you stop exhaling, either because it's too uncomfortable or because you have no more air, the timer is over. You don't pause anywhere in there, you just control the length of the exhale for time. Now, the way that we might apply that in the program, as you can see, just for an easy number, I used 60-second exhale, which would be pretty good, right? So if I had a 60-second exhale on my test and I plugged it into my calculator, for a cadence 1A breath, I would get a 10-second inhale and a 10-second exhale. Now, this cadence 1A is probably one of the most basic fundamental breath rhythms that we use in all of our programs, because it's a smooth and even breath that allows us to many times warm up for a more advanced practice or just develop a deeper awareness of what's happening with my breath. And with this cadence 1A, the reason we write it as 1010 is because it's an inhale, no pause, exhale, no pause. So there's no breath holding anywhere. It's just a smooth and continuous cycle. And if you put 60 seconds in the CO2 tolerance test, you'll get 10-second inhale, 10-second exhale. Now, this is also a common breath rhythm that we use with movement. And one thing that you want to realize is that when we ask for smooth and even breathing with movement patterns, that this base number, this 10, which is your base number for your cadences, it may not apply, right? Because when you're moving, you're building up CO2 a bit faster than you might normally otherwise. And so your 10-second inhale, 10-second exhale may not apply. It may be more like a 6 or a 7, depending on how vigorous your level of activity. The other piece, if we insert and we get a apnea 1, which is a 1-to-1 ratio for inhale, hold, and exhale. If we put in a 60-second CO2 tolerance test, our calculator will give us a 6-second inhale, a 12-second pause, and then a 6-second duration exhale. And it will continue like that in a cyclical fashion. Now, what's really important here is that we keep in mind our base number, and that gives us a clue where we'll be for all of our sequences, right? So for my cadences, my base number would be 10, right? Because that's the number that the whole sequence is based on. 6 is my base number for my apnea ratio, right? Because 6, 12, 6 is a 1-to-1 ratio of inhale, hold, and exhale. One thing to keep in mind as you go through the program, that there may be times where we'll ask you to increase or decrease your base number depending on what we're trying to get out of that particular session. So if you do your CO2 tolerance test and it gives you a base number of 10 for your cadence, but on that particular day I ask, hey, because we're doing this type of movement or this kind of exercise, you should back down on your base number. What I mean is, you might want to start with a 7 or an 8, because what we're doing is going to be more stressful than it would be if we were just doing a normal seated independent breath practice. So that's how our CO2 tolerance test applies in the context of our programming. So while these can serve as very strong guidelines, especially for our formal breathing practice, realize that there are situations and scenarios where we may have to alter them because of their relationships with other techniques.